4 Best Practices for Establishing Inclusion by Gries, attending Walden University, Cultural Diversity and Motivation, EDUC 6172-2 with Dr. Douglas Baylor, July 20th, 2013. So, the adult learning context that I chose was a health sciences class called Computer Applications for the Medical Office, taught in a rural community college. Sussex County Community College is located in northern New Jersey, and there's a lot of farmland in this area, but there's a diverse population. My student population was a class of 15 students. I had about 3 20-somethings, 3 50 and over folks, and the rest ranged in ages between 30 and 40 years of age. So we have to discuss our student population some more. We need to discuss their ethnicity. I had 1 Asian, 2 Hispanic, 1 black female, and 11 Caucasians from varying backgrounds. Gender-wise, I had 1 male in the class, which didn't seem to bother him, and 14 females. My student population had varying socioeconomic backgrounds. The Asian was adopted by an Irish family, she told me, when she was a child, so she spoke English perfectly. The one Hispanic I had was from Bolivia, who was in the country for 2 years and had completed some ESL courses. She was married with a husband that worked. In her native Bolivia, she was also a lawyer. The other Hispanic student I had was single, raising 2 children on her own. 1 child had a learning disability. The 1 black female was young and married, but had a good work background. She had different jobs, she moved up in those, but she was looking for a career change. And the 2 50 and over students, 1 was widowed and 1 was divorced, but both were also looking for a career change. The remainder of the student population had a varied work background and home life. In other words, some were married, some were dating. So my first inclusion strategy, number 1, was introductions. I started with myself, telling them something about myself, and then sharing a little bit about the music that I love and my Native American flute. I also brought it to class to show them. That's always a real icebreaker because it's an unusual instrument. I then went around having the students also introduce themselves. And I asked them what music do they like to listen to, or what movie had they recently seen if they don't like music, and what prompts them to be in their course of study at this point in their lives. My rationale for using this was it emphasizes student importance and instructor interest. I'm always interested in knowing about my students. It allows students that are quiet by cultural bonds to share something about themselves without being too intrusive. And it also begins the process of establishing an environment that is intellectually and socially inclusive in the classroom. It shows that I'm interested and I really want to know what's going on in their lives. Inclusion strategy number 2, positive interdependence. So I like to go over the syllabus the first day of class along with the group project. I usually have 1 big single project that allows them to work all together, such as doing a podcast or pamphlet that'll be available to the students and the faculty of the college. A podcast or pamphlet maybe on high blood pressure, dieting, etc. Choice of their topic, but it has to be medically oriented, and it has to encompass the computer skills that they learned during the class. My rationale for this is going over the syllabus and explaining various topics allows the student to ask questions. I also allow them to change things along the line. Maybe something comes up in another class, such as a big anatomy and physiology exam. So maybe we'll change over to an easier topic that week to accommodate the students, so they're not going to have a meltdown. Well, they still do, but at least this helps them out a little bit. It allows them to take charge of their learning. It also allows them to see the big picture as to why covering some of this material is necessary. My last rationale part for inclusion strategy number 2 is to have a group project that gives the students a positive interdependence by being united around a common goal. Inclusion strategy number 3, peer teaching. Students that get the concept of the day's lesson to tutor those who do not during lab time, because my class was 3 hours long. Part of it was lecture and part of it was lab time where they worked on assignments. My rationale for this is that students begin to develop a positive attitude because they receive individualized attention. In a bigger class, it's hard for me to do that if there's a lot of learners that need my attention at one time. Having a peer or somebody else explain something to them, it gets them their answer faster. So slower students don't feel like they're being left behind, and again, it fosters a positive attitude. Students doing the teaching say it additionally solidifies the classwork in their minds, allowing them to do better on the tests. Speaking of developing attitude, that's my inclusion strategy number 4. Taking the student that doesn't want to be in the classroom to wanting to be there. Showing the student what they are learning is relevant, and engaging the student in the class by allowing them to peer teach, allowing them for them to show off their knowledge. Maybe they have previous knowledge from work. Maybe they've already done some of the computer applications, so they can show off what they know. Again, my rationale for using this: motivated adult is an engaged adult. Students want to be successful, and students want to know the value of their learning, so this way it actually solidifies that. So here's a summary. For best practices of inclusion, we need to know our student population. Have students do introductions. It shows that the teacher is engaged with them, wants to know a little bit about their lives outside of the classroom without being too intrusive. Positive interdependence, giving them a project to work towards, a goal, something for the greater good. Peer teaching allows them to solidify what they know, helps the slower students not fall too far behind and catch up. And this all fosters a developing a good attitude in the classroom. And here are some references. Thanks for listening.